in this. And, don't like gravel.
If you're wondering what that was all about, you need to watch the last video. So we stopped for 5 minutes, and after getting the mickey took out of me for dropping the bike and then getting me waterproofs on, we was back on our way. And it's a good job we did put the waterproofs on. Although it didn't actually bucket it down like it did the other day, it kept the wind off and the occasional shower to keep us warm, which were much better. Apologies for the rain on the lens. I did travel at some speed, so I did think the water would blow off. Obviously wrong. Along this stretch, I noticed a strap hanging from the back of Jonathan's bike. It was flapping around everywhere at the side of his wheel. The worry is if it went through the spokes, it may jam his back wheel. I tried to get his attention. It took a while.
So we can catch up with him now and tell him. Your strap's low! Jonathan! Dear me. I've been flashing him for about 15 minutes. Can't hear anything from this wind. He's obviously not using his mowers. Alright, now I might get a chance. Jonathan!
He's strapped! He's strapped! Your strap's loose!
Yeah, it's flapping out really low. It keeps nearly going your wheel. I've been flashing you and beeping for about 15 minutes. I thought, what's he doing? On a day like today, it's going to get loose, innit, with wind.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
38 miles to Applecross and then...
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Carry on.
Weather's looking good again. Ish. As good as it's going to be.
We'll just stop at Applecross and see what we're doing.
Right.
Right.
We'll be right.
I think we'll be alright. We're just going to end up getting to camp a bit later. We're going to get probably
No,
6:30 or something.
do.
Especially bloody thing, is it?
We've had a lot more stops today.
Yeah.
There's no you can do. You've done a bit of sightseeing, so and Sheldon needed a
Alright, too much information. And we're off again.
As we were riding along, mine and Jonathan's conversation came around to the Bealach pass, which we'd heard so much about, read so much about, and many bikers had spoke about. We was basically saying, is it as bad as people are saying? You know, this usual thing, it's meant to be the worst road in Britain, it's highest road, it's most exciting, etc, etc. Now, between me and Jonathan being bikers, we are excited for this. But my wife, who's on the back listening to this conversation, is suddenly now being notified to a scary road that's high in the mountains, very narrow and very scary. She doesn't want to do it. So much so, she's telling us how late we're running behind, and that we haven't got time to do it, and the weather's not great, it's cold, it's windy, every excuse under the sun not to do it. However, although I couldn't see Jonathan's face and he couldn't see mine, I was trying to signal to him, yeah, well, let's do it. So we was kind of agreeing with my wife, but at the same time wanting to do it. How could we do this without Scary Mary on the back, not getting too involved? This was something to think about while I made my way through to Applecross, the start of all this nonsense.
About coming past the wall, have we? They're probably all in the campsites, tucked up and having a beer now, after having fish and chips from the local tippy. Not like us idiots. walking through the drop quite some time before we get to the campsite.
It had been a long ride already, but now the bit me and Jonathan had been waiting for, the infamous Bealach Road. All the wife wanted to know is how we're going to avoid it. After all, I didn't want to lie to her. If you listen carefully, you can hear her say, "Is this beat the bar?" or words to that effect.
No!
We told her we'd set the sat-nav and were doing the fastest road back to the campsite, which we kind of was. The wife quickly worked out what was going on, which resulted in me getting a few kidney punches from behind. She wasn't impressed one bit, but as it went on she didn't think it was too bad. Little did she know this was only the road to the start. Sadly, the weather wasn't great and the rain was on the camera again. Bealach means pass of the cattle, but over the years cattle have grown brains, so they've learnt not to go over it no more. Unfortunately, us humans, we haven't, and we're stupid, and we go over it on motorbikes in wind and rain. Well, that's what the wife said. Of course, I'm a bloke, and I just think anything that can kill you is loads of fun. I don't know if it's the van or the Range Rover that we passed, but all we could smell was burnt clutch. I mean, you'd like to think the Range Rover could handle this, so maybe it wasn't that. We'll never know. Unfortunately, the camera I use has a levelling feature which tries to level everything out, including hills, so some of the hills that I go up, they don't actually look so steep, but trust me, they are.
Steep climb, 1,100 feet above sea level so far.
What's coming the other way is a constant thought on your mind. After all, it is a very narrow track, it's almost like a footway.
Passing place, even the passing places are really narrow. They've got two big vehicles, I don't think they're passing them. And it's extremely windy. As you'd expect up here, I suppose. There's a load of bikers coming the other way.
Looks like we're not the only stupid bikers up here in this weather. The wife was being very quiet indeed. She later told me she was too scared to talk. I shouldn't laugh, I suppose. It's not like the wife, she's been on the back of my bike for years and years and never said or moaned about nothing. Just something about this place give her the willies. On the other hand, me and Jonathan were loving it. We were starting to ride in the clouds, but these aren't the fluffy white clouds you get in warm countries. These are the grey, cold, wet things we get in Great Britain. We wouldn't have it any other way, would we?
Yep, this is a bit grim. You can tell the wife's on the back, she's squeezing and moving, you can tell she's frightened to death. So I think it was this for a while, so she didn't want to do it, kind of forced her, told her we're going quickest way to camp, which in truth we are, but she didn't want to go over this, she thought by going quickest route to camp she'd avoid it. The views, as you can see, are pretty shocking. And the wind, I can tell you, it's the strongest wind I've ever rode in my life. I've never rode a bike. In fact, if at home, if the wind was like this, well, it's never like this, but if it had, you just won't go out, you just stay in.
As you can see, we're coming out of the clouds here into the hairpin bends.
This is where you've got to try and look for traffic coming up or down. There doesn't look to be anything, but it might be hidden.
This section is extremely steep. You can't really see it on camera. You're also unsure if you're going to face either a grid or a pothole, so it's easier to go slow and steady. As it turns out, the road surface is pretty good.
Nothing's coming.
The wife was still very quiet. If it wasn't for the steep hill making a crush into my back, I'd think she'd fell off. Then she kindly reminds me, gravel. Oh, she's still there.
That's them done now. That's all the hairpins done.
That was the hairpins done. I was trying to reassure her, to let her know that the hardest part was over.
There's nothing coming, which I'm rather happy about, if I'm totally honest.
I spoke too soon.
Oh shit. What a good bloke. Fucking fancy coming up here in a big American car. What a diver. Clutch burner this. Get something like that. Look at the views, man. Look at that.
That's for the boys.
I am!
The worst of it may have been over, but somebody was still a little bit nervous with sounds of it.
just comes from nowhere, no wind at all, and boom, like full power straight away. Nearly knocked me off the hill, which is a bit of a worry because there's no fence, no nothing. I keep rubbing her leg for assurance to tell her that everything's alright, don't worry, because she's frightened to death. I won't say what she said, but let's just say it was something to do with putting the hands back on the steering wheel, back on the handlebars. She did say steering wheel, but I'm sure she means handlebars. Yeah, like I say, it's not for the faint-hearted, the Barack the bar, whatever you want to call it. It's not the place if you're not confident in riding. It's not really a place for your pillion. And if they don't like that sort of thing, it would seem I'm just cruel. Obviously I've got confidence in my own ability, but I suppose if you're the pillion, you're not in control and there's nothing you can do, is there? So it is a bit frightening, I guess. I'm not sure I'll get on back of a stranger's bike to go over there as a pillion. I should be glad to know the worst of it's over, but I can't tell her that because the battery's dead on the headset. How awkward's that?
The wife's relief was evident in her expletives.
I enjoyed it, I don't think she did.
Well, let's just say, the pelvic muscles are brilliant. I'm like that.
It weren't as bad as I remembered it as, to be fair.
No, it weren't too bad actually. Only that section across where that wind were.
I thought that would have been dodgy.
That were windy.
I thought that went.
We survived. I'd like to go back on a nicer day. I'm not sure the wife would though. After scaring the wife over the tops, that was it. Our North Coast 500 came to an end. All we had to do is get a campsite for the night and find our way back home. I'm sure you didn't want to see that. But thanks for watching, it's been great. Remember to subscribe and click the bell if you like to see all the next videos. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.